excited to introduce our next presenters that will be speaking on the process, logistics, and the great success with customized integration and their ability to build massive open worlds with a minimal internal team. I'm pleased to introduce my new friend, Johan Petersson. He's from EA's Ghost in Gothenburg, Sweden. And Youyou Wu, she's a senior art producer and key account manager at Virtuos Shanghai. Let's give them a warm welcome to the stage.
Thanks, Kobe, for the warm welcome. Much appreciated. Me and Youyou are here to talk to you about creating massive open worlds with a minimal internal team. We will do that with the Need for Speed franchise reboot as our reference project. And we'll talk to you about the challenges we faced, about the solution we put in place, and about the benefits we saw to that solution. So the challenge was that we had to create this massive open world, and we only had 9 months to do it. And in a world where you have, in a game where you have Lamborghinis that do north of 400 kilometers per hour, which is roughly 260 miles per hour, you have to have a quite sizable world. So the world we set out to create was 16 by 16 kilometers big, with 240 kilometers of road. And our internal team in Gothenburg was a hybrid team of world builders and world artists, and we were only 6 people. We also had a 2-man lighting team in Guildford of UK. And we have a really, really good relationship with our EA studio in Shanghai. So we ramped them up to 37 people, where 32 of them were producing artists. But yeah, we quickly realized this wasn't enough.
And this is where Virtuos team came into picture, that we have ability to ramp up to a massive 80 people CIT, which is customized integrated team. This is enable us to move forward with confidence, and we actually have a minimal overhead because 70 out of 80 people are production artists.
Yeah, so take a second and reflect on that. A 6-man internal team handling an external team of a total of 117 people. And where it gets really interesting is that Virtuos did not only handle art production for us, they also handled road surfacing and scene management.
As Johan mentioned, Virtuos is not only providing art production manpower, but also fully equipped with a full dedicated team of art director, producer, and technical artists. So this is enabling us to deliver integrated art content instead of standalone asset production.
So in the end, we delivered on time, we delivered on schedule, and we delivered on budget. And by alpha, we had delivered 100% of all our art content. And by that time, Virtuos had delivered more than 1,000 assets to us. And before we dive into the solution we put in place to kind of achieve all of this, let's have a quick look at the end product.
Yeah, we don't want nobody telling us what to do. We don't want nobody pushing us around.
But tell me, just what is it that you want to do?
Well, we want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to be free to ride. We want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man. We want to have a good time. That's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good time. We're going to have a party. Yeah!
So just before I came out here, I took this presentation and showed it to our studio AD. And he kind of flipped through a few slides. And then he looked up at me with a really skeptical face and said, "Did you choose the fonts yourself?" I want you guys instead to take away these 3 things from this presentation, if you ever attempt to do this yourselves. It's to mirror lead organization across all sites, to create a win-win situation for all studios involved, and to foster one team culture across all studios. So we put in place something we call the Cornerstones of collaboration. I won't go into any vast amount of details on these. I will give a few examples of each of those, because you could probably have a full talk on any of these. So let's start with structure. So the first thing we did was to mirror our lead organization across all sites. And we did this by creating collaboration teams. So level artist leads from all sites created one collaboration team. World builders, the leads for the world builders created one collaboration teams. And all these collaboration teams together formed a leadership team.
So our team members coming from different parts of the world, but we still managed to bring everyone together, bearing in mind that we are forming a customized, integrated team. There are some key points that we did to keep a stable team structure and ensure smooth process.
So all these collaboration teams met on a weekly cadence and handled specialty matters in their area. That allowed the leadership meeting with all these teams together to be really short in the end of the week, because all specialty matters has already been handled and they could concentrate on escalated matters. We let all our teams across all our sites to estimate the same tasks early on. That allowed us to bridge any discrepancies in estimates. And if you can't trust your estimates, there's no way you will deliver on your scope.
Yeah, something very different from a traditional over-the-fence asset-based outsourcing is Ghost, EA Shanghai, and Virtuos DD are always doing the planning together to keep everyone on the same page. This is ensuring a transparent communication channel as well as supporting accurate judgment during the planning stage.
So I synced up with all PMs on all sites on a weekly basis to kind of spot any problems early on and course correct where needed. And we had R&Rs and RACI documents available on Confluence before we started production. And for those of you who don't know what Confluence is, it's kind of similar to SharePoint. We also had POC documents up on Confluence early on, so when anyone ran into a problem, they knew where to look and could easily find a POC.
Yeah, from the beginning of the production, we also linked, federated link with EA so that we can have a very quick real-time communication and information update.
So we made sure all studios synced up with our creative leadership early on in the project and continued that relationship throughout the projects. And we made sure we didn't overwork our teams during production because we knew filing was coming. Everybody worked on the same pipeline with the same software versions, and Virtuos, of course, had access to our Frostbite engine.
I would like to bring a bit more details on the in-engine development pipeline within Virtuos side. So we start from the asset creation level, where our art team is creating art breakdown and collecting references according to the white box provided by game team. Proxy are also created upon the asset list approval. Later on, when the creation of a set is finished, our art team is able to import everything within engine, which is Frostbite, and do all the in-engine setups. In the second level, the build test and QA test level, all our art team have to run through the local build test before they can deliver into the main build. And then the Ghost art director and technical artists will be able to directly review everything within engine in the live build and give feedbacks. After a set approval, our team is able to deliver source and raw file into the main database. In later production stage, it's a polishing stage. Our artists and art directors are able to do collaborated team level review on the both sides. And after a few iterations, we are able to sign off the whole level.
So with teams on 3 different time zones, email gets really complicated. So we had to enforce a 24-hour email rule, which meant anyone had to respond to all emails within 24 hours. So let's dive into methods. We made sure to have benchmark assets, content creation guides, and briefs ready by the start of production before we ramped up our teams. We also had them translated into Chinese, of course. We also had art tools ready by the start of production.
So the technical artists on both sides are also having regular catch-up to co-develop tools and shaders within engine and keep everyone updated.
And I really did my best to create win-win situations for all studios and not only for the lead studio. We did this by giving ownership and a clear mandate to innovate. And we had our kind of big bulk of training in the beginning of the project when the external teams ramped up, but we kind of continued that throughout the project where needed. So we started with having feedback in email and quickly realized that wasn't viable. So we moved into Jira where everything was trackable and easy to follow up. Of course, you can use any similar tool like Shotgun or whatever you use for feedback.
For smaller art-related feedbacks, we enable the lead artist and team leader to talk on both sides, directly talk to each other.
So we realized early on the importance of face-to-face communication. So we tried to have all meetings over VidCon or Skype for Business. We also realized the importance of on-sites. So we kind of had a schedule for on-sites because we saw the us and them feeling grow in between our on-sites. And with a 6-man internal team, you really have to have a solid review process on the partner side because you don't want these small issues to come into the internal team. And yeah, the importance of KPIs were emphasized in the talk yesterday, so I hope you all saw that talk. It was really good. But yeah, it's super important to keep KPIs, measure everything, and kind of action upon what you find there.
Something also very different from the traditional outsourcing is Virtuos team is also responsible for KPI, such as QC gate milestones and bug dashboard in Jira or in-engine performance, etc.
So let's continue with attitude. So we did our best to make all teams feel like they were part of Ghost.
Actually, during the process, our team do feel like being treated as part of core team. I can see real passion and sense of responsibility coming from our team to deliver the integrated art content.
So with a small team, having a common goal is really important. But when you have these massive teams, having a common goal reaches a whole new level of importance. And when we started this, I kind of expected 100% transparency from Virtuos, and we kind of gave it back 100% transparency to Virtuos, and that kind of laid the foundation for this whole thing to work. Same goes for shared responsibility. It's really important to kind of have that in mind when you start this. And I know this is hard in some parts of the world, but make sure you try to foster a culture where all the artists embrace feedback from the get-go. It's also good to have software like Slack or HipChat or any other social software to let artists from different sites talk to each other on a more relaxed and casual platform. We also try to have parties on the same day or at least on the same week and then shared pictures afterwards with all studios to kind of team build as much as we could. And again, these are the things I want you to take away from this presentation.
With these 3 solid cornerstones in place, we are able to pull a full production pipeline from very beginning to the in-engine integration to an outsourcing team. So this is an involvement of mindset that we see significant achievement brought by that. I want to introduce a little bit more on each stage of production on both sides. So on white box stage, Ghost team is providing the placeholder and scale and basic game space are defined. Proxy of props are also provided. At the same time, Virtuos team is collecting reference and doing art breakdown on our side, where our art brief specialist is able to create the documentation on our side. Proxies are broken down into individual art assets, while references are sorted out for material callouts and visual representations. Asset production stage, Virtuos is mainly supporting on replacing key asset proxy into the real model and add it into asset library. Level production stage, Virtuos is also taking main lead on replacing everything within the scene within Frostbite. The environment is also remodeled and textured. We also have a very general path of lighting and VFX to establish the look and feel of space. Later on, in the final scene management stage, EA Ghost is taking back lead to integrate all art details, including materials, textures, VFX, and lighting. In the final polishing and tuning stage, Ghost core team is also working on polishing everything, including screen balance, texture balances, VFX, and overall look. Now we would like to introduce the benefit we see that brings value to both game development team and outsourcing partners.
Yeah, of course, the benefits to us at Ghost was that we could build this massive open world in this short amount of time to quality. We could never have done that without the Virtuos team.
So we call it a customized integrated team because we see the value brought by outsourcing team is growing with time of collaboration and level of integration. This is a status in between the traditional over-the-fence outsourcing and full co-development, where the risk level is controllable and the cost of management could be lower than standalone asset production. Virtuos team is always aiming at providing maximum added value to our partner in the game development team, based on the 4 core values that we provide quality team with scale to provide capacity. Having Virtuos CIT working through the full production cycle will gain efficiency. We also have well-planned training course to provide quality, while competitive cost can be brought by reasonable team structure and fewer feedbacks. With these 4 values in place, Virtuos team is able to support bigger world production and more stages of production. Since the team is already customized, we did a lot of technical setups, including IT, network configuration, workstation customization, etc. This is reducing the cost for the similar future corporations. On the art side, we have art brief specialists who are able to create the documentation according to the game style that he is familiar with. So having a CIT which is familiar with game style, pipeline, and engine, is super easy for us to establish future cooperation under same franchise and with same studio. Thanks to the great opportunity provided by Ghost, we're able to develop and design a brand new type of collaboration between the game development team and outsourcing partners. We believe that customized integrated team will be the future of outsourcing and continuously bringing us more value on both sides.
Yeah, and no doubt the Ghost team were super nervous before kind of venturing into this, because outsourcing to this level had never been done before. But coming out at the other end, it was a super positive experience, and everybody was really proud of what we achieved.
So thank you for watching our speech. Our Q&A session will be in 12:30 at Speaker's Corner there. So if you have any questions, we're happy to share with you about more information. See you later. Thank you.
Thank you.